Well, we're a municipal public library. We're poor. The only person that we would pay moving expenses for is the director level, department head level. We recently hired a librarian, one from Alabama. Now, she did have family in the area. She did want to come back, so she paid her moving expenses to come back. As far as the 50 miles approximately you're talking about, I do have librarians that live in Winston-Salem, which is about 35, 40 miles away. They drive back and forth. That is their choice. The only requirement the city of High Point has is that if you are a department head, you have to live inside the city limits. Anyone else can live wherever they choose. I live 20 miles away, I drive back and forth. That's my choice.
I'm just going to kind of piggyback on Lisa and Jason's answer from the previous question, and that is, if it stands out as something unusual, then give a little backstory so that we don't have to try to figure that out or make assumptions about what you might or might not do. Lots of people like to commute, and for different reasons. They may have a spouse, they may have a child, whatever it is. And I think maybe it becomes critical when you get to that interview point where, in the case of a school situation, the principal is going to say, you have to be here at 7:15 in the morning, and we're going to have faculty meetings in the afternoon. And by the way, there are parent, teacher association meetings in the evenings, and so you have an opportunity to sort of discuss those things, but again, and it sort of feels like it could be a scattergun approach too. When you see somebody applying and you don't have from a distance and you don't really know what the backstory is, then you might think, well, they're just shooting at every target that they can find. So,
and I think for us, just to kind of touch on that a little bit more, we don't look at distance when we look at applications. We're not looking for where you are located right now. We are looking for the best qualified applicant to interview. Then how you want to handle it, if we call you for an interview and we tell you what the approximate schedule is and you say, that's not going to work with where I live and I don't want to move, okay, we called you. You didn't want to interview, we'll move from there.
Yeah, we don't look at it, as you know, for faculty positions, which all of our librarians at NC State are faculty, non-tenure track. Yeah, we fly people in for a 45-minute interview from the other side of Canada. I hate to even admit that we've done that, but we have. And so as far as moving, that's fine. It doesn't become part of our calculation as to how much it's going to cost to get you or anything like that. For paraprofessional positions, we do have a tendency to focus on local, but we've called in people to interview that are like within a day's drive. Or we've called in people who said in their cover letter, I live in Charleston, but my family lives in Raleigh and I'd like to move back. And we've hired people in those situations. So again, just a little bit of explanation. For paraprofessionals, the state won't let us have moving expenses. So we can't help with that, and even interview expenses. But for faculty, we have some more flexibility. And that Canada thing, that was a few years ago before the budget was that crazy. So don't go and tell the NNO that we're spending the state's money frivolously.
Yeah, I've actually never looked at, I look for general interest purposes about where this person is applying from, but never factor that into any kind of decision making. And I know that past librarians, professional positions have gotten moving assistance, but I don't know what would happen now with the budget, how much that would actually come into play. I know when I got the job at UNC, I didn't have to move. I was already in the area, so I didn't go through that whole process of figuring out the funding for that at all. I just don't know it off the top of my head.